Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Point of View by Harbinger Systems, where we bring to you quick and insightful conversations around technology. Every business, big or small, generates a humongous amount of data through different sources. This data is leveraged to learn so much more about customers, including their user habits, the demographics, and many other such interests that they are interacting with your business or your product. Data is therefore a very significant asset for any organization. However, there is a flip side to this, of course. If not dealt with properly, data can become incoherent, unknown, untraced, and even useless at times if we do not know where it resides or how it can be of use to you. Untreated data, therefore, can be also a huge problem. The importance of storing, structuring, curating, and analyzing data for your use, therefore, cannot be overstressed. This is what falls under the area of data governance, and this is a critical piece that we would like to talk to you about today. Recently, Microsoft also announced a new data governance solution on its cloud platform called as Microsoft Azure Purview, which is a comprehensive solution for data discovery and governance, which can be used for the above said purposes. Doesn't it sound like a really interesting development? And that's why today, in today's point of view, we will be discussing about this really interesting topic along with my co-host Subodh Bere, and also, we would also be inviting Shaheen Mula, who is our own expert on this topic. The topic today is called as how to tap into data using Azure Purview. Just to introduce my co-host, Subodh has over 2 decades of experience in technology consulting, and Shaheen is Harbinger's very own data expert who has worked with multiple customers in managing their data across different types of industries and different types of data challenges. A very warm welcome to you both, Shaheen and Subodh.
Thank you, Jumi. I can never tire talking about the importance of data. And this new development in this space is certainly worth exploring. So I'm all set to begin.
Thanks, Shaheen. And before we get started, let me introduce Jomi to our viewers. So, friends, Jomi, she comes in with almost a decade of experience in working in IT consulting on various aspects of HR tech, learning, and now she's sort of spearheading Harbinger's effort into the work tech space as well. So, thanks, Jomi, for inviting us.
Thanks for the great introduction, Subodh. And let's just dive right in because this looks like such an interesting topic. And Shaheen, I'm looking at you when I'm talking about data because I know how enthusiastic you were about the whole Azure Purview release, especially that it has been generating since its launch in the mid of December. So, isn't it obvious that data is becoming really serious business? And also that irrespective of the size of the organization that data is being handled at, what do you think about all of this? Really excited to know what your thoughts are.
Yeah, so I'm so glad that you started at this point, Jovi, because usually we either tend to neglect the true power of data or take care of it in pockets.
Mm-hmm.
Now, another misconception is that data management or governance is only for big organizations and not the smaller ones.
Mm-hmm.
But I believe that data is equally important because it assists business leaders not only in understanding critical trends, but also helps in improving business and taking forward the strategic decisions. So the better idea is to like take care of data in silos or in the proper management kind of way. The better the data, the better is the analysis done from it, as everyone knows it. Similarly, on the other hand, erroneous data, which is also called as bad data or dark data for that matter,
Mm-hmm.
when pre-processed and analyzed incorrectly, can result in a bad decision making. Hence, the data along with all the processes associated with it should not only be taken seriously, but also be maintained with equal care. Here is where tools like Azure Purview come into picture, which promise to simplify these complicated tasks. And that is one of the many big reasons for all the excitement that you can see around it.
True.
I cannot agree more with you, Shaheen. And the kind of advancements that we are seeing in technology, the number of gadgets that we are using, the day to day transaction volumes that are increasing, payments are being processed. So our digital footprint is increasing, and it's all sort of supported by the data that is collected. So there is a chance that it can get used heavily as well as misused. And the more we read about it, talk with customers, we are seeing that governments, organizations, they are coming up with stringent mechanisms and
Mhm.
structures around this. And when we talk with our customers, they always say that the volume of data is increasing. So, in order to answer such questions, what would be a strategy around such kind of data?
Yeah. So thanks for throwing the spotlight on this very important aspect, Subodh, because I personally believe that data must be dealt with a lot of care and caution. So I quote, the time that we live in is called the age of data. Data volume, data compliance, and data security are the primary aspects to the operation of any business. Though data management is becoming complex day by day, with an increasing volume and scatteredness of data as well, there is an additional layer of CCPA and GDPR compliances that also need to be factored in. So one should therefore be ready with a well prepared plan for managing all the data sources comprehensively. And some of the essentials here include ensuring that there are no confidential data leaks. Secondly, I would say automating the processing of the data, thus avoiding any manual intervention. And third is tracking and tracing of every data flow. So these are the primary aspects, three primary aspects, which I would like to emphasize. And then there is a case where the crucial role of data security officers come into picture, where their main goal is to go through all the data sources and apply proper compliances, confidentiality levels, and tracking the lineage of the data so that the entire data stays secured. Furthermore, the chief security officer, chief information security officer, as they call it, of any organization would like to have insights about what and how the data is being used. So there should be a foolproof strategy in place to ensure that the data estate is really safe, and intelligent ways to enable governance, compliance, and pampering of data has now become a necessity for the entire data organization. That is what I'd say.
That's really interesting, what you just said, right? Because there are so many aspects to data that you just mentioned that are important. So, just for our viewers' understanding, I'll just break that down. So, you mentioned that there is a data estate, and we need to take care of how where it resides, how secure that is, what is the compliance of the data, and what all transactions actually affect the data needs to be conveyed and monitored by all these the information security officer and other actual stakeholders who are involved in the data ops process, right?
Yeah.
So does Microsoft Azure Purview actually help a data engineer and an analyst like you to take care of all these data governance processes, and if yes, how could you help us understand that a little bit?
That is a wonderful question, Jomi. So before I get into responding to that, let me reiterate once again that
Mhm.
Microsoft has very recently launched the product for public review, and more people are going and using it. So whatever I say here about the product depends on assumptions as well as what the product promises to deliver. So with the work tech driving the future of the workplaces, there are a lot of disruptive technologies that are being adapted in the organizations to meet the needs of a hybrid ecosystem where a part of the workforce is working on the premises, but a larger part is working remotely. As an outcome of this exact situation, there is uh, an increasing adoption of the technology, not only to streamline or automate the processes, but also from the need to enhance collaboration
Mhm.
and optimize the productivity. All this ultimately results in large data being created, which not only has to be managed but governed and protected as well. That is where data security and compliances are of the prime consideration. Now, Azure Purview, as we talk about it, promises to be a unified data governance service. that will help one to manage and govern on-premises, multi-cloud, and software as a service data as well. An overarching benefit is a holistic, up-to-date map of the data landscape with automated data discovery, sensitive data classification, end-to-end data lineage kind of properties that it supports. Now, there are four things that I would like to mention. They have like a master mention, I would say. The first is the automated data discovery, lineage identification, and the data classification part. The second is unified map of the entire data asset and their relationships for more effective data governance. Third mention goes to the semantic search and not the text-based search, enabling data discovery using business or technical terms. And fourth mention is for the insights into the location and movement of the sensitive data across a hybrid data. That is how this goes.
Wow, that is seriously a lot. And I remember you and me, we were talking, and I just remembered the old Marina, what he said, water, water everywhere, not a drop to use. I think I could almost imagine you doing the whole thing and saying, data, data everywhere, and not a single piece of data to use. Does this actually happen to you when you're dealing with customers? Because I'm sure a lot of people watching also are plagued with this kind of problem, right? They have lots of data to use. They know they need to do something with it, but they don't know where to begin. So, how do you think a tool such as Purview? I know you've given us a lot of details, but how does it make your life easy, and what challenges does it solve?
Well, Jomi, you just hit the nail on the head. Data is indeed a double-edged sword. That is what I'd say. Data analysts come across situations where the data might have volume, but identifying those patterns gets really complicated sometimes. So while Purview will help with a lot of things, the three primary things that come to my mind as challenges what I had faced earlier are first mention is, as everyone knows, almost 80% of the time of a data analyst is spent on getting the data into a desired shape
Mm,
before any processing can be done. So Purview provides a data catalog which enables effortless discovery of data.
mm,
This empowers data scientists, engineers, analysts with business context to drive BI, with analytics, AI, and machine learning initiatives a lot. This like gives them an additional hand on getting over the data kind of challenging things.
mhm,
That is one thing. Secondly, I would say there is a lack of insights available on the data estate and how it is getting utilized by the data processes running across the organization. Third challenge is now let me give you an example as a context to the next challenge.
mhm,
For one of the projects that we were working on earlier, there was a case when the data had to undergo a certain transformation process before it being utilized for analysis.
mhm,
Now, unknown of this fact, a new database developer changed the source field in the data, which resulted in the entire transformation process crashing. While debugging the transformation process, which was running very smoothly earlier, it took some time for us to know the root cause of the failure of the process. Now, Purview, when it comes into picture, provides impact analysis and data lineage just on a few clicks, which helps in identification of all the areas which could be affected as a result of changes in a very specific field. Now, this would come really handy in such kind of cases. That is what I feel.
I agree. And Shine, this truly seems to be very good solutions to the kind of pain points that you mentioned. And I think time will tell whether Purview sort of solves those problems. And in general, I think solutions like this will definitely help organizations cut down on the costs they spend on data discovery, on classification, the manual efforts that go in. And on top of that, the amount of duplication that is there between homegrown systems, Excel-based solutions, and so on. One last question before we sort of get questions from the audience. Do you think, like you have been talking about Microsoft Purview quite a lot, but are there any other significant players in this space who have also started to bring in their tools on this landscape?
Yeah, so there are a few tools from various cloud service providers, and they target different aspects of data governance. For example, the closest match, which is similar to MS Azure Purview for data governance, would be the IBM Watson Knowledge Cloud or Knowledge Catalog, as they call it. Now, this is the closest match, as we say it. But there are also pinpoint solutions, such as there could be AWS Macy, there could be Alation, and AWS has partnered with it. And there is again Google Cloud IAM, which deal with very specific aspects of data governance and can work together to solve the challenges that we discussed earlier. All
Mhm.
the all of these tools solve very specific aspects of the work chain. However, Purview looks quite promising because it is comprehensive and has considered all the varying aspects of the data governance factors. So, having said that, let me also tell you more importantly that these tools do not suffice by themselves. You still need data experts who have good and thorough understanding of the entire data processes to work on them.
Wow, that's really cool because there is, you just said that apart from what we see in Azure Purview, there are also other alternatives that one can look at if they're looking at data governance. Obviously, there are pros and cons for every situation. And also, I feel that there is this tiny bit that Shaheen highlighted that just tools are not enough. You need to have adequate knowledge of where the data resides and how the whole data processing and manipulation process works, and that sort of expertise goes without doubt is really valuable. Thank you so much for all these great insights, Shaheen and Subodh, for that great those questions that you raised. And to our audience listening in, if you are curious about Azure Purview, or you have already started utilizing some of what is already out there, and you wish to collaborate with us, or just work with us and understand what better can be made out of it, please feel free to write to us. You could reach out to us at consulting@harbingergroup.com, and or you could even leave us a comment below, and we'd be happy to answer any of the questions that you have based on what we have discussed so far. We look forward to hearing from you, and if you would like to hear some of our many such point of view sessions that we have on different topics on technology, you could also check out recordings on our website, which is www.harbinger-systems.com, or simply go and subscribe to some of our social media channels where you could also be updated on such point of view sessions. Thank you so much for listening in, and I hope you have enjoyed watching this session and being part of it as much as we have enjoyed making this for you. Till the next time we meet, thank you and stay safe.